A few weeks back, I reviewed the FiTorch ER16 and was impressed with it. FiTorch is a relatively new brand, but the execution of their designs and manufacture is like they've been doing this for a few years now. Today I have the new FiTorch M30R to take a look at. This is a full-size tactical light with its emphasis on USB recharging. Thanks to FiTorch for sending me this early release to take a look at. So here is the box that it comes in, and it's a nice retail box. It's got a hanger on it. It really shows off the key features of this torch. First of all, you've got the tactical switches here, and I'll show all this on the light itself, and I'll put in some pictures of the box here so you can get a better idea. It's 1800 lumens max, 328 feet throw. It's USB rechargeable. It also acts as a power bank. On the back, you've got more details about the light, and on the side, you've got just other details all about it. It's a nice box. It's well thought out and well done. This light comes with lots of extras, as you can see here. First, you've got an O-ring and an extra button. You've got a lanyard here with a push button design. It is not branded. Next, you've got a USB charging cable. I'll go more into this here in a second when I talk about the charging system. You've got this OTG adapter for charging your own devices that may not use micro USB, and with a little lanyard. It comes with a 3400 milliamp hour FiTorch branded battery, and this one is micro USB rechargeable itself. Then you get this nice holster for the light. The holster here is a neoprene fabric with Velcro, and it just barely fits in there. It's a big light. More on that in a minute. You've got a button size belt loop here with no D-ring, and it is FiTorch branded. Construction of the FiTorch M30R is quite nice. Machining, fit, and finish are on par with Olight, I'd say. This light's made from aluminum and hard anodized with a semi-gloss finish. Starting at the head of the light, it has a crenulated bezel here. It's relatively sharp. It's not sharp enough it's going to cut yourself or your clothes, but the edges aren't smoothed over at all. Below that, you have a hard mineral lens here. It is not anti-reflective coating, which is odd to see in a light these days. Below that, you can see the smooth reflector and LED that is nicely centered. If we look here on the side, we have some nice milling, just more for style than anything here. You could argue some of this is for cooling here, but it's a nice milled head. And then you've got the button itself. It's a multifunction button, and it is an aluminum cover on top. This space between the button and the ring here is an LED indicator. If I just press that 4 times, I'm getting the low voltage. You can see it lights up inside there. It flashes and goes red and green depending on your charge state. Opposite the button, you have the micro USB charging port here. Now this is what's important. This is a standard length port. On the ER16 that I tested a few weeks ago, it was an extra deep port, so you had to use the included cable. What's great about the M30R is it's a standard length port, so any micro USB cable you have should fit and work. The barrel of the light here has this concentric grip pattern that we saw on the ER16. I like this grip pattern. It's not super grippy, but it's nice. When you're holding the light like this, it's not really where your hands are going to be anyways. You're going to have some touch there, but the light's big enough that it's not an issue. You've got these other areas milled in just, I think, for style and a little bit more grip. As you can see there, it's nicely done. The clip here attaches only one direction and is removable. It's pretty stiff. I got to really pull on that. In this application, I think the clip is less useful, and I'll probably pull it off mine when I'm done with the review here. The tail cap of this light is where really all the business is. First, you've got this concentric milling with these slots for grip and style. But the next here, if I rotate, you can see this locking ring. That has all to do with this tail button, which I'll explain here in a minute. So it locks, or unlocks, as you can see there. You've got lanyard holes here, and this is they're kind of narrow there. I think you'd have a hard time getting paracord in there. And if we look at the back end here, here is where all the magic of this tactical light works. So that front button, you can use that for more normal flashlight operations, but this tail is tactical. And that's where that lock comes into play. So your center button here is always on turbo. As you can see, it lights up. Then you have these paddles. And these are momentary on and off for strobe only. So it's lights in the unlocked position right now. And I can press one, you can see there it's strobing. And if you press and hold for a long time, it'll lock on. But you can just press and hold short and it lets off. It just is a momentary switch. When you put this into locked mode, the two paddles are locked so you can't press them. They're mechanically locked, but that center turbo still does work. Due to that large center button, this light does not tail stand, it just falls over. Threads on the tail cap are Acme cut and the O-rings are pretty beefy. The light came pretty nicely greased. And there are springs on the front head side of the light and a double spring on the tail cap. The light is dual wall construction here, just like my Olight M2R. This isn't a small light. I noticed it most in the length. It came in here pretty long at 163 millimeters. Its width at the largest point is the head here at 37 millimeters. The minimum diameter is 24 millimeters here on the body. Weight came in at 216.2 grams with the battery and clip installed. It is IPX8 rated and drop resistant to 2 meters. If I throw in a size comparison here between some other lights like the Olight M2R and the MSR D4, you can see that the FiTorch M30R is large. It's quite a bit longer than the M2R and significantly longer than the D4. Now, the D4 isn't exactly comparable in a like style of light, but the M2R Warrior is. For me, I found the FiTorch M30R is too large for me to EDC in a pocket, and that I'd need to use the holster if I wanted to carry it on my person. Whereas the M2R is still small enough that I can EDC it in a pocket if I wanted to. This light uses a Cree XHP 35 HD LED in cool white. It has a deep, smooth reflector covered in a thick mineral glass that does not have anti-reflective coating, as I was mentioned before. The driver uses constant current, so flicker isn't an issue. Mode spacing is as follows. Turbo is 1800 lumens, high is 460 lumens, medium is 130, low is 20 lumens, strobe is at 1800 lumens, and SOS is at 460 lumens. This is pretty even to the eye, which I like, and this light has a really nice fade feature between modes. So here I wanted to show those nice fade modes. And you just see it nicely fades. So here is medium mode, and you kind of see the beam profile. Let me flatten out the light here. It's got a decent amount of throw to it. And you can see that hot spot in the center there. Now at distance, there's a slight donut. It's not really a donut even, it's just a slightly less bright spot that I notice. Hard to notice outside, but you do notice it on a wall inside. And here is a strobe. Here are my night shots for the FiTorch M30R. And here it is on low. And this really isn't that low. This would be plenty for like hiking around, seeing maybe 5, 10 feet in front of you here. You can see the picnic table. And if I bump up, you can see that nice smooth ramp up. I really like that feature. You can see this light's kind of throwy. This is just the medium mode. Plenty of light here to do any camping or reasonable tasks. Bumping up one more time. Here's high without turbo. Nice broad beam. It shows the characteristics here. And this is full turbo power here. We can see the dust in the beam. It's got that nice kind of spot almost. Blows out the picnic table, too bright. If I pan over here, we can see it. I'm going to walk down here and do a little bit more and show you what it's like. It's a nice, easy to use UI. And the tactical feature of this light, if I hold that rear button, I get instant turbo. And if I hold one of the paddles, I get strobe. FiTorch claims the distance this is capable of is 328 meters. I measured parasitic drain of the light at 1.6 microamps. So for the runtimes, most lights like this time down from turbo, and this light's no different. After about 4 minutes, it ran at 48% of its output for 95 minutes. Further steps down were done in small increments over 20 minutes, as you can see from the graph here. This is nice, and it doesn't have any sudden fall-offs other than from turbo to its main runtime. Total runtime on the included 3400 milliamp hour cell was 170 minutes before low voltage protection kicked in. So the UI of this light is easiest to understand if we split it into what each button does. Starting at the front, the multi-mode button, normal flashlight modes and functions. From off, if you press and the side switch and hold for about 1 second, you'll turn it on low, as you can see here. Quick presses will then allow you to move up through medium, high, and turbo. Instead of cycling over, once you hit turbo and press again, it'll go down to medium, low, and so on. Think of it as ramping, but without the infinite brightness, with preset modes. Strobe and SOS are not part of the main group. To activate them when the light is on, a quick double press will go to strobe, as you can see here, and you press again and it fades down. If the light is off, a quick press 3 times will show low voltage protection and give you a voltage check on the light. The light also has a location beacon mode that flashes on and off every few seconds, and to activate that, it's 4 presses on the button here. And it just flashes on and off. It says it kind of breathes, but in my opinion, doesn't do a great job of that. 4 presses to turn off again. So the rear 3 switches are used for the tactical modes in addition to that lock ring on the tail cap here. Right now I've got it in the unlocked position. And that center button is able to work whether it's locked or unlocked. So there it's locked, and we can see here it turns on. If you do a full press on it, it will lock on. So this lock ring is only really for these paddles. As I mentioned before here, you can press 1 for momentary or a long press, and it'll stay on and keep strobing. These rear buttons work regardless of what mode you're in. So here I am in low, and I can press and hold one of the paddles here and get strobe, or I can press and hold and get turbo. And when you let off, that automatically kicks off your mode of your main emitter. No special batteries are required for this light to work. Flat tops work, as well as NCR 18650Bs, so no high drain cells are required for turbo. CR123s work as well, and this light is not rated for voltages higher than 6 volts, so 2 18350s isn't needed. Apart from the tactical side of this light is all about USB recharging. On the light itself, I mentioned here it's got a micro USB charging port that allows for 2 amp charging speed of the light itself. And this button indicator will blink green during charging and solid green when charged before it shuts off. All tests were performed with the included FiTorch 3500 milliamp hour battery and with the supplied cable here. And I used an Anker Quick Charge 3.0 power adapter for my testing. Charging time from low voltage protection cutoff to 100% using the external USB port took 2 hours and 20 minutes, and most of this was between 1.8 and 2 amps charging speed. As I was mentioning before, the battery has the ability to charge directly via the micro USB cable, but at a much slower rate. It has a red and green LED on top of the battery, giving an indication of what the battery is charging. I tested with the same setup as above, but got a maximum charging speed of 0.82 amps. Total time of charging was relatively long, 5 hours, 32 minutes. So the other neat thing about this light is it can also be used to recharge your other devices. To do that, you need to use this little adapter that comes with it here. It's gray and metal. To use it, you just insert it into the flashlight itself here, like that. And it's a little bit loose here, this connector. Then you take the adapter for your phone or device you're trying to charge, plug it in there, and it automatically starts to charge. So, and when it's doing that, it flashes red and green here. And this connection is a little bit loose, but not too bad. While charging your other devices here, the light does not work. When recharging the light itself, the light does work on low and medium. This is nice if you're out on the go, something like that. I think that's why they also included the keychain there. When I tested this with my Note 8 here that I'm charging, I was able to charge my phone from 28% to 81% at 1.7 amps charging speed. And during this time, the flashlight does get warm to the touch. So the pros for this light are, for me, it's a standard depth micro USB port to allow standard cables for recharging. It's got a really nice machining fit, finish, and feel. And it's got that nice fade between modes, which I really like. The cons for me is I'd like to see a strong detent on this rear lockout switch. It's not bad now, but it's a little bit too easy. I also only need one lock mode, not 3. And I'd like to see that location beacon be a smooth breathing, kind of similar to that Astrolux MF01 that I reviewed several months ago. So a quick summary for me is FiTorch is definitely an up-and-coming brand that's paying a lot of attention to detail, and in the execution of their machining and tolerances is pretty fantastic. As a newer brand, they're doing a better job on this than many of the older brands they compete with. My hope is that they'll start to offer some neutral white LED options in the near future. The M30R is a nice light that's designed with a purpose. This isn't your typical pocket EDC light. Instead, it's designed for more tactical use with this lock ring, these paddles, and strobe features. Personally, I'm not a big user of strobe. However, if you are, that rear lockout allows you to get to strobe very easily. I wish that detent, like I was saying, was a bit stronger so it's less easy to activate if you don't want strobe. The interface to me is decent with a little bit of room for improvement. I like how the USB recharging is fast and uses a standard depth connector so that I can use a standard cable. The LED and reflector combo seem to create a slight donut at distance that's easy to tell indoors but hard to tell outdoors. It's got a nice throw for its size and weight. Overall, this is a nice light for those needing tactical above practical. Let me know what you think of the FiTorch M30R in the comments below. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And if you would, like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me to bring more videos like this to you.